One of the biggest, most commonly asked questions about Christianity is, why is there so much suffering in the world? Sometimes it's framed this way: if God is love, but he has all power, why does he still allow people to suffer? And it's a philosophical question, but when we're going through difficulties, it becomes a very practical question as well. And so, how would I answer that? Well, first of all, because there's sin in the world, through the fall, there's going to be suffering and decay in the world. So sometimes there's suffering because of sin. We're experiencing the consequences of our actions. Sometimes we suffer because of other people's sin. The Bible says we don't live under ourselves, we don't die under ourselves. What we do affects other people, and it affects those closest to us the most. Sometimes it's not really because of sin, it's just kind of the outcome of living in a fallen world. There's decay as we get older, our bodies go downhill. That's just kind of part of life. Sometimes God sends us trials, and it's not because of sin, but it's for his glory, for him to do a work in us, for him to build our faith. And so as we face suffering then, and you think about it and try to answer it, sometimes just knowing that doesn't really provide a lot of comfort. And in our particular situation, sometimes we want to ask why. And the reality is, a lot of times we're not going to know why. But I would encourage us to maybe try to reframe the question. And instead of asking why, asking who. The reason I can believe in God and can be a Christian with all the suffering in the world is because when I look at the cross, I see that God suffered. I see that he's just not out there divorced from us, not touched by our pain and our problems. But the Bible teaches us that Jesus Christ is God, who came into this world, became a man, lived as we live apart from sin. He experienced the problems that we experience. He was betrayed. He was homeless at times. He suffered, and ultimately he went to the cross and he died for us. And the Bible says in Romans 5:8 that the cross demonstrates God's love for us. The Bible says in Hebrews 4 that Jesus sympathizes with us in our weaknesses because he's been tempted in every point like as we are, yet without sin. To me, this provides the only hope and the only comfort that there is in the midst of all the suffering that's in this world. So I would encourage us maybe not to think so much about why, but look at who, look to the cross of Christ, realize he suffered for us, he loves us, he sympathizes, he empathizes with us because of what he's been through, and trust him.